Fluency in English is something many people dream about. I remember when I was a young student like you. I wanted to speak English well. I wanted to be fluent, but I was shy and made many mistakes. One day, a teacher told me, "You can be fluent if you practice every day." That sentence changed my life. When you want something, you have to work for it. Fluency doesn't happen in one day. It's like growing a tree. First, you plant the seed, water it, and give it sunlight every day. With time and care, the tree grows big and strong. Fluency works the same way. One day, a student came to me feeling sad. She said, "Teacher, I want to speak English, but I keep forgetting the words." I smiled and told her, "Don't worry. Fluency isn't about remembering every word. It's about practicing." She looked at me with hope and asked, "How can I practice?" I said, "Practice is everywhere. Talk to your friends, listen to stories, and sing songs. You can practice anytime." When I was in school, I loved listening to stories. My teacher would read to us, and I would repeat the words. At first, I was slow, but over time, I got faster. I learned new words, and my confidence grew. Another student once asked, "Teacher, does fluency mean speaking fast?" I said, "No. Fluency is about speaking clearly so others can understand you. You don't have to speak quickly. You have to speak with confidence." There was a boy in my class who spoke very fast, but no one could understand him. I told him to slow down, speak clearly, and use simple words. He listened, and soon everyone could understand him. He became more confident and enjoyed speaking English. Fluency is a journey. You take one step at a time. Don't rush. Enjoy the process. One day, you'll look back and see how far you've come. I've seen many students who were scared to speak at first, but with practice, they became fluent. There's a secret to fluency. It's simple. Listen. Listen to people speaking English, listen to stories, songs, and conversations. The more you listen, the more you learn. I knew a girl who loved music. She listened to English songs every day and started singing along. Her fluency improved because she listened and repeated. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are our best teachers. I had a student who was scared of making mistakes because she thought others would laugh. I told her, "Mistakes are okay. They help us learn." One day, she decided to speak in class. She made mistakes but kept going. Over time, she got better and said, "Teacher, I'm not afraid anymore." Fluency also comes from thinking in English. One of my students always translated from his language to English, which made him slow. I told him to think in English, even when he was alone. Slowly, he became more fluent. Another student loved to talk, but often switched between English and his native language. I told him to stay in English, even if he didn't know a word. He tried, and soon he was speaking only in English. Reading helps with fluency too. When you read, you learn new words and how sentences are made. I used to read simple books and write down new words. Then I'd use them in sentences, which helped me remember. One day, a student told me, "Teacher, I read a book but didn't understand everything." I said, "That's okay. Keep reading, and you'll understand more." She read every day, and soon her fluency improved. Listening to yourself is also helpful. You can record yourself speaking and listen to it to find areas for improvement. I had a student who did this daily. She became more aware of her speech and got better quickly. Practicing with a friend is another great way to improve. Two best friends in my class decided to speak only in English with each other. They helped each other with new words and became fluent together. Fluency also comes from using English in real-life situations. When you go to the market, try speaking in English. Small efforts like this can make a big difference over time. With practice and patience, fluency is possible for everyone. Keep going. You can do it. When you are with friends, try to use English. The more you use the language, the more fluent you will become. I had a student who worked in a shop. He decided to speak only in English with his customers. At first, it was hard, but over time, he became more confident and fluent. Fluency is also about being curious. When you hear a new word, don't ignore it. Find out what it means and try to use it in your next conversation. I remember a student who was very curious. Every time he heard a new word, he would ask me what it meant. Then, he would use that word as much as he could. His vocabulary grew, and so did his fluency. It's also important to have a goal. Ask yourself, why do I want to be fluent in English? When you have a clear goal, you feel more motivated. I knew a student who wanted to travel to an English-speaking country. This was her goal. Every day, she practiced speaking English because she wanted to be ready for her trip. Her goal kept her motivated, and she became fluent before she traveled. I also tell my students to enjoy the process. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But if you enjoy the journey, it becomes easier. I had a student who loved watching English movies. He watched one movie every night. At first, he used subtitles, but after some time, he started watching without them. He enjoyed the movies and improved his fluency at the same time. Fluency is about repetition. The more you repeat, the better you get. I had a student who loved to repeat sentences. He would hear something in class and say it again and again. This helped him remember the sentences, and soon he was using them in daily conversations. Speaking with different people also helps with fluency. Everyone speaks in a different way. When you talk to different people, you learn new styles of speaking. I had a student who was very shy and only spoke to me. I encouraged him to speak to other students. At first, he was nervous, but with time, he felt more comfortable. He learned new ways to express himself, and his fluency improved. It's also good to practice speaking about topics you love. When you talk about something you enjoy, the words come more easily. I had a student who loved football. Every day, he talked to me about football. This helped him become more fluent because he was excited about what he was saying. Fluency also means understanding that it's okay not to know everything. Sometimes you won't know a word, and that's okay. Try to explain it in another way. I had a student who always wanted to know the exact word for everything. If he didn't know the word, he would stop speaking. I told him, if you don't know the word, describe it. This helped him keep talking, even when he didn't know the exact word. I told him it depends on how much you practice. Some people become fluent in a few months, while for others, it takes longer. But the most important thing is to keep going and never stop. This student practiced every day and soon saw progress. Sometimes, it helps to practice in front of a mirror. When you see yourself speaking, you notice your expressions and gestures. I had a student who was very shy. She didn't like speaking in front of others. I told her to practice in front of a mirror. This made her feel more confident, and soon she started speaking more fluently. Another student asked me, "Teacher, what should I do if I forget a word while speaking?" I told him, "Don't stop. Keep talking. Sometimes, the word will come to you later. If not, use another word." This helped him stay calm while speaking and not worry about forgetting words. It's also important to take breaks. Sometimes, Your brain needs rest. After a long day of practice, it's good to relax. I had a student who practiced all the time. She became very tired and frustrated. I told her, take a break. Relax and come back tomorrow with a fresh mind. After taking breaks, she felt better and kept improving her fluency. Fluency is also about using English in creative ways. You can write a short story, sing a song, or even make a video. I had a student who loved writing. She wrote short stories in English every day. This helped her learn new words and sentences. Soon, she started reading her stories aloud, and her fluency improved. Another way to practice is by teaching others. When you teach, you learn even more. I had a student who was very fluent. She decided to help her friends who were not as fluent. She taught them new words and practiced speaking with them. This not only helped her friends, but also made her even more fluent. Sometimes, having a routine helps. Set a time each day to practice speaking English. I had a student who practiced every morning for 30 minutes. This was his routine. He followed it every day, and soon, he became more fluent. A routine keeps you disciplined and ensures you practice regularly. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Fluency takes time. I had a student who was very impatient. He wanted to be fluent quickly, but when he didn't see progress, he got frustrated. I told him, be patient. You are improving, even if it's slow. He listened to me and kept practicing. Over time, he saw improvement and became more confident. Fluency is not just about speaking, it's also about listening. When you listen carefully, you learn how to respond. I had a student who was a great listener. He listened carefully before speaking. This made his answers clear and thoughtful. Listening is a big part of becoming fluent. Another important thing is to stay positive. Learning a language can be hard, but a positive attitude makes it easier. I had a student who always stayed positive. Even when she made mistakes, she smiled and tried again. This attitude helped her stay motivated and eventually become fluent. Fluency is also about trying new things. Sometimes, you need to step out of your comfort zone. I had a student who was comfortable speaking in class, but shy outside of class. I encouraged her to talk to people outside of school. At first, she was nervous, but with time, she became more confident and fluent. It's also helpful to learn from others who are fluent. Watch how they speak, listen to their tone, and learn from their style. I had a student who admired a famous English speaker. She watched his videos and tried to copy his style. This helped her improve her own fluency. Fluency is a mix of many things: practice, patience, listening, speaking, and even making mistakes. Each part of fluency is important. I once told my students that learning fluency is like cooking a meal. You need many ingredients, and you must mix them well. This helped them understand that every part of learning matters. It is also good to celebrate small wins. When you learn a new word or speak without stopping, celebrate it. I had a student who celebrated every small success. This made her feel proud and pushed her to keep going. Celebrating small wins shows you are improving and keeps you motivated. One day, a student asked me, "What if I stop speaking because I don't know what to say?" I told him it is okay to pause and think. Take a deep breath, then continue. This advice helped him stay calm when speaking and made his fluency better over time. Fluency is also about using what you learn. If you learn a new word today, try to use it tomorrow. I had a student who learned one new word daily and made a sentence with it. This helped him remember and use the words in real conversations. Another thing to do is learn from your surroundings. You can learn English from signs, menus, or posters. I had a student who liked exploring the city. Every time he saw an English sign, he read it and tried to understand it. This helped him learn new words and phrases to use. It also helps to learn about the culture of the language. English is spoken in many countries, and each has its own style. I had a student who liked British English. He watched British shows and learned about their culture. This helped him understand different ways to speak and made him more fluent. Fluency is not just about words, but also body language. Your body language adds meaning to your words. I had a student who used his body language very well. Even when he used simple sentences, his body language made him seem fluent and helped him communicate better. Sometimes it helps to challenge yourself. Try speaking about something you don't know well. This will help you learn new words and ideas. I had a student who loved sports but decided to talk about science. At first, it was hard, but over time, he learned more words and became fluent in different topics. Fluency also improves when you feel relaxed. When you are calm, words come more easily. I had a student who felt tense when speaking. I told him to take deep breaths before speaking. This helped him relax, and his fluency got better. Another way to practice is by asking questions. Questions start conversations. I had a student who was very good at asking questions. He asked his classmates about their hobbies, day, and interests. This practice helped him speak more and become fluent. It is important to check your progress. Every few weeks, think about how much you have improved. I had a student who kept a journal. Every week, he wrote about what he learned. This helped him see his growth and stay motivated. Fluency also means being flexible. If someone doesn't understand you, try saying it in a different way. I had a student who was very good at this. He changed his sentences if needed. This made him more fluent because he could adjust to any situation. Learning with others also helps. Share experiences and practice together. I had a student who joined an English club. Every week, she met with others to practice. This kept her motivated and helped her improve fluency. Setting small goals also works. Instead of saying, I want to be fluent, say, I want to learn 5 words this week. I had a student who set small weekly goals. Each goal was easy to reach, and she felt more confident after reaching them. Over time, these small steps made her fluent. Fluency is also about not giving up. I had a student who struggled with English for a long time. He wanted to quit many times but kept going. One day, he noticed he was speaking better. His hard work paid off. Reviewing what you learn also helps. Go back to old lessons and review them. I had a student who looked at her notes every month. This made her remember what she learned and speak with more confidence. Being open-minded is also important. You may hear different ways to say the same thing. I had a student who liked learning different English accents. This made him more adaptable and fluent in various situations. Fluency also comes from enjoying the language. Find something you love in English, like books, movies, or songs. I had a student who loved English poetry. She read poems daily, which made her love the language more and helped her become fluent. Ask for feedback when you speak. Feedback helps you see what you're doing well and where you can improve. I had a student who always asked for feedback. This helped him get better and more confident. Using flashcards is another great way to learn. Write new words on cards and review them often. I had a student who made flashcards for every new word. Reviewing them daily helped him remember the words and use them in conversation. Fluency also means being okay with silence. Sometimes, you need a moment to think before speaking. I had a student who felt nervous when silent. I told him it's fine to pause and think. This helped him feel comfortable and speak more clearly. Learning phrases is better than single words. Phrases show how words fit together. I had a student who learned phrases. This made her sentences sound natural and fluent. Curiosity about the world also helps. Learning about cultures gives you more to talk about. I had a student who loved history. Learning history gave him more topics for conversations. The road to fluency is not easy, but it's worth it. Like a river flowing to the sea, your efforts will bring you closer to fluency. Fluency is about more than just speaking. It's about connecting with the world and sharing your voice. Every word and sentence you learn builds a bridge to understanding and friendships. So, keep learning, keep speaking, and let your voice be heard. Now, I have a question for you. What inspires you to keep learning English? I'd love to hear your answer.